Hello, I'm Olga. Welcome to the new event from Data Zen community. Data Zen community is a place where our expert speakers talk about their everyday experience, about challenges they're facing, the most interesting news, and the most popular technologies from the world of data. And our today's guest is Aizhan Kushumbayeva. Hello.
Hi.
She works in data analytics and also she is a driver of the House of Data community in Kazakhstan. If you have any questions during our talk, please don't hesitate to write them in the chat and we will answer them during the talk if we have time or later. Hello, Aizhan. Nice to see you as our guest.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
So let us start from our usual question for our guests. What is your current role and responsibilities? Please tell us about yourself.
Okay, so currently I'm a BA/DA, which is business analyst and data analyst compound position. So I am currently responsible for communication with business stakeholders for BI reporting systems. So it could be Power BI, Tableau, or anything similar. So I am serving as a proxy analyst for gathering requirements for any BI projects we have at EPAM. So that is a small introduction.
Thank you. So you're working in the data projects, right?
Yes, yes,
Could you tell us, please, a little bit about DataSphere and why do you think it is so popular now?
sure. So generally speaking, I think data analysis, data analytics is getting more and more popular lately, and there is no surprise for that because currently all business owners make decisions using data that they have on hand, and it matters a lot if whether that data is accurate, whether it's analyzed properly or not. So currently data analytics sphere in industry in general has many directions. It has many mm, sub subdivisions, so to say. So you can have many roles which are all under this data analytics umbrella. But mainly, I think we can figure out several that are quite popular and quite simple to understand. So first being data analytics, this is the general role that you hear about often. It's called data analyst. Then you have data science industry, data science direction, which is also very popular lately, and also data engineering or big data as those kind of three main pillars of data analysis world is what we hear often about. So maybe that's the general overview. And do you think I should go into detail about those?
Uh,
Would you want to hear
and
more?
I would like to hear about your choice, probably. So, why have you switched to? Why did you? I know that you switched to business intelligence sphere and to the
Yes,
data.
yes.
And what did you do before? And why did you decide to, to do it, to make such a
Mhm.
turn in your career?
Sure. So I think maybe I'll start from the beginning of my career. I worked at KPMG as a tax consultant, so I would review some accounting data, also tax registers data in Excel mainly. So that was my day-to-day job for quite a long time early in my career, and I quickly realized that I enjoy working with data. Quantitative, also enjoyed working in business consulting. So I decided that I need to step up my game and also figure out what is out there to, combine my skills, whether it be data analysis, the numbers crunching, or general interview skills with business owners. So I decided to combine all of that and chose data analytics as a way to go. So that would be a starting point. That's my thought process at the time. So I decided to investigate and look into IT positions that would be similar to that.
So you were like looking for the uh, job offers and see the description of the job and was wondering what would suit you, right? Was it your
Yes,
way?
yes, I realized that. There, I mean, at the time, I think it was about 2014, 2015. Data analytics wasn't that popular in Kazakhstan. So you wouldn't see as many jobs having such similar descriptions. And there wasn't many job functions that were fitting into that notion of combining data analysis and also business skills. So I decided to take it slowly. So at first I entered IT world as a business analyst. So I decided to work in um, a web development industry first, and that was my first start. It took me a while to achieve professional skills, that level of professionalism that was required to get into data. First, I was only focusing on BA skills. So maybe you are aware, it's mostly focused on the communications with business owners, it's requirements gathering, a lot of documentation work. So that was the first step that I took in my career. And then I decided to up my game with project management as well, and focused on learning things like agile
Mhm.
development and those sort of things. Yeah, that was my first start.
So you started as a business analyst and was also looking to the project management, right?
Yes, yes,
And
those were the two main functions that
so,
I performed.
yeah, how did you manage to switch to data to be
Yeah,
a
that's
data analyst? Was it some kind of training, or you were working independently on some
no.
courses?
At first, I started looking into jobs that were covering business analysis role in the data projects. So
Mm.
I realized that business analysis is mainly an umbrella term that would cover all positions which require a person to communicate with business owners to figure out what is needed to be performed in the product development. So I realized that data products should also have that role, as an aspect of, some positions may be just called differently. They may be called business analysis, but in fact they may be very much intertwined with the data analyst role. So and I found such a role along the way in one of the local firms, and it was called business analyst in a data science team. So and that was very interesting. So I decided to try my best and applied for that job. And they really liked that I have all the necessary skills for business analysis side of it, and they really trusted in my background with the data analysis in at KPMG. So that experience that I had with Excel and lots of accounting data really helped me at that point. And
But I have to ask, did you know SQL at
no,
that
I didn't.
point?
No, I didn't, but I did. I really tried my best to learn as much as I could in a couple of weeks that I had before that interview. So I would. I had a notion. I mean, I used to, and I did understand the basics of what databases are because I used to work with backend tasks for web development at my previous job. So I realized I knew quite a lot about that, but I didn't really have any hands-on experience. So they had to trust me. So they gave me some couple of test tasks and some home projects that I had to perform before applying there, and it all worked out in the end. I think my basic SQL skills were enough for that position in the beginning, but I definitely grew in. I mean, I think my skills grew a lot, quite significantly, and then I was more and more confident along the way. So I would I would describe that experience in data science team as the crucial and turning point in my data analysis career because it was very challenging, very hands-on, and I worked with production data a lot. So it was a lot of discovery. At the same time, I had quite many responsibilities there and quite a lot of freedom.
So could you probably dive more into these responsibilities, or uh,
Sure. Yeah.
for example, at your previous, or we can discuss those project or your previous experience at your work, so for our listeners to understand what are exact responsibilities, because Do
Sure.
you actually need SQL? Do you need to write code, or you just investigate data and work in Excel spreadsheets all the time?
Yeah, I see what you mean. So, as I said, in as part of web development team, I didn't use any SQL, so I would only use my BA skills. But later in the data science team, I had to work hands-on with the databases. So I used to focus on. I used to work with read-only commands for SQL, and it was enough for me at that time because I would be working with BI systems. So initially, I would just work directly from the database for any um, data science related tasks that we had. We were basically working with the modeling. We had some recommendations, prediction models that we were trying to push to production, and I was working as a person who would create those use cases and for those models. For example, I would be the one gathering ideas from business of what can be used as a use case for a prediction model. And in order to do that, I used to query quite a lot of production data. So it was a mining company. It was data from the plants. So it was quite enormous amount of data, which is mainly about the production of aluminum, for example, as an example, but it was much more than that. But usually I would be the one talking to business owners, which were people who worked on those plans. And I would interview them to understand what are the use cases that would be best suitable for machine learning cases. And then I would try to form those hypotheses into a certain use case for a model. I would be querying the data first to understand what we have, whether we have any necessary data to build on top of that. And also, then I quickly realized that we need the BI system for to work on that. And later on, when we started production of the models, it was quite successful in terms of that we managed to deliver several models, but they required quite thorough testing. So the testing part was not developed at the time. So we decided that we could use BI systems in order to monitor the performance of the of such models, and it worked out quite well because there was no one else in the team to perform testing of the of the output of the models, so it was a very small team, so to say. So I had a couple of machine learning specialists who were working on Python. They would create some models in the containers, and then um, we had a couple of data engineers, and together the four or five of us would work on creating a pipeline, so to say. So in order to have an output that would be easily understandable and easily digestible for business stakeholders, so business owners who would be from top management of those plants, or even the mining company that we worked in, we had to communicate it in simpler business terms with better, nicer graphs. And we decided to use ClickSense, which is a well-known BI tool. It's similar to Power BI and Tableau, and it was completely new to the company. So we decided to onboard that BI system and created a pipeline from based on the production data that we used before. So it was a nice project that allowed me to experience the full full pipeline, that the classic use cases of the BI system. So where you need to digest and transform data in a way that would be easy to understand and easy to present as well. So that was a hands-on experience at the moment. And in order to build those BI systems, right, in order to build those BI reports, I used to work with SQL day to day. So I didn't create any tables or any databases myself at that time. However, I was the owner of those databases, and I had support from my data engineering team at the time.
Yeah, and you mentioned what you mentioned, Tableau, ClickSense as a technology that you used, right? And could you please tell what else
Yes,
technologies?
sure.
What is your stack usually at this project?
So at that project, it was ClickSense mainly with some SQL systems, SQL command apps. So it's nothing extraordinary, very regular on-premise databases. We used to work with, so mainly I think I worked on creating tasks for my team. So of course I used Jira and Confluence quite a lot at the time. So that was the BA part of the job, and also I would work with the ClickSense daily, and also we used to work with Nime. I don't know if you know of such application. It's very easy to learn and very easy to use software that allows some basic data manipulation and allows almost zero coding. So that's the one that I used at the time, and it allowed me to transform data and prepare it to um, for usage in the ClickSense. So that was, now that I look back, it was some heavy load for just one BA.
Yeah, it sounds really complicated. Really,
Yeah.
my idea about data analyst was completely different. I was like thinking that it was some person who is writing mappings in Excel and something like this, but
Yeah,
it's
it's quite
much more into this
that was just
that I thought.
my experience, right? It's not the usual way to go into data. It's not necessary to go into such depth and be so hands-on. It depends on the company, of course, that you're working on, and the team size, whether you have people to support you, right? So at that time, but that experience it allowed me to test, all these steps and try them hands on. And I realized when I worked there that I really enjoy BI part of it, so I really enjoyed working with ClickSense. So that is when I decided to move on with the data science team that we had. And I decided to look for other options out there in our job market that would be data analysis related, and especially focusing on BI projects. So that is how I got into EPAM at Kazakhstan. So that experience was very helpful to try things out. So if, for example, you are someone who is joining, um, looking for some data and analysis roles in the job market, and is not doesn't really know what they like from all the choices that are out there. I think it's a good thing to try yourself in a team that has different roles, and play with them, test them very early on in the career. So it doesn't data world doesn't require you to be to commit to any of the tracks, right, inside data analysis. So as I said, I used to work in a data science team, so it's very specific. The the tasks that you perform are very specific. The content of the data, the content of those reports that I was building was also very specific and very numbers heavy, right? It was very metrics heavy, and there wasn't much fun data to discuss with business. And But however, it allowed me to test the tools that we used quite well. It helped me realize that BI could be very flexible and would be the perfect spot for me to combine my BA experience as well as interest in the data, and wouldn't require as much coding, for example, as machine learning sphere would, for example. It doesn't require me to learn any additional mathematics, for example. So that was very helpful. And I would very much advise to look for projects that have different roles and not a very um, narrow scope, because if whenever you have narrow scope, you don't have much to explore, and you would be stuck with the same routine tasks for quite a long time. But this is my case, right? And it was very unique. My experience was unique in a way that I had all this freedom in that company, and I had the support from other specialists, data engineers as well. But now, currently, it all worked out in the end. So now I'm focused on BI systems, and I enjoy it quite a lot. And this is what I've been working on for the last 2 years at EPAM.
Well, before we go to the discussion of data in Kazakhstan, could you please sum up what qualities you have to have if you want to be data analyst? What I've heard is communication as well, right? So you have to be have good soft skills. It will be a lot of communications, right?
Yes,
And
that's correct. Yeah, I would say you see, there are quite many people who use SQL, right? And it's not a complicated like language to learn. It's not something that anyone could learn with good effort. However, it matters most how you apply those skills, right? And how you use SQL, what query you design, and you need to understand exactly what you're looking for. Uh, and in order to set the right task for yourself, right, set the right context, you need to be very good at analyzing the business scope as well. And in order to do that, we encourage data analysts to, in our team, for example, in Kazakhstan, to improve soft skills quite heavily. Um, Interview skills is used quite heavily in this job. So you need to be able to dig into the business context of the task of the project, challenge business owners in order to understand their true intention, right, behind all the multiple reports that we're asked to develop. Because a lot of time, many of the business reports are obsolete and are not really needed. People are just used to having quite many reports. That's historical way people worked since Excel era, and people like to present many tables and quite a lot of data showing that they performed a lot of work, right? However, when at the end of the day, quite many top management clients that we had expressed that it's not about the quantity of the reports, it's about the quality of the reports and whether they bring value to business. And in order to understand that yourself as a data analyst, the one person who is designing reports, you need to be able to have that business acumen as well. And you need to be able to communicate with your clients day to day very efficiently, um, in order to design a product that would work best to their needs. So that is, I think, yeah,
like sometimes they don't even know what they need, right? So you need to
exactly.
investigate it and
Yes, it requires
make it clear.
soft skills, as you mentioned. Of course, you need the technical skills, right? It could, as a beginner role, we always suggest to have SQL, of course, and also one or two BI systems of choice. It could be Tableau, it could be Power BI, ClickSense, anything you like. And also, we encourage people to choose a domain that they like, that they would focus in their first projects, because domain knowledge always helps to navigate business reporting, BI reporting in general, because you need to understand the data in order to build better reports. So it helps if you have good domain knowledge as well.
So if you worked previously like in some pharmaceutics or banking, it can help you, right? If you're thinking about switching the profession.
Could you
Is
repeat
this
that?
what you
I
mean?
think I had some connection
Uh,
issue.
by domain, I mean if you have experience and if you worked somewhere in banking or medicine or pharmaceutic, right? So it can, or insurance, it can help you. Yes,
Of
is
course,
this what you
yes,
mean?
yes, yes. I think the reason why it would help, because it would help you um, mm, get on track with be on the same page with business owners very quickly. So it may take a while for you to learn data, and when to be able to dig into data very quickly, you need some experience. But if you have some experience in the domain, then it would allow you to um, on board quite quickly. So you'll be able to that would be helpful for the users right away. It will just encourage, motivate you to work harder on the technical aspect of your work later on, if you are good at something or at the beginning, right? If you are confident in the business context, then it would help you significantly. Of course, it's not a hard requirement, right? It doesn't really matter in the end if you're good at interviewing people, if you're um, confident in your business analysis skills, you're good at requirements gathering, then of course you can take up on any domain. It doesn't really matter. However, it always helps to have some more confidence and motivation.
That's a very impressive story of your uh, success, let us say. And
Olga, can you
you
hear me?
mentioned, yes, I can hear you. You can, and you? Can you hear me?
Okay, I cannot hear Olga. Then
Mm,
let's wait, Olga. Okay, I
uh,
can hear you now.
oh, now you can hear me. Great. We have
Yeah.
some connection issues, I guess. So I was talking that. Thank you for this impressive story of your success. It's really looks like you've done a really great job at this job. And actually, you had some luck to have such a first project, right? Because
For sure, for sure.
you learned a lot.
Um, yes, but I
And
think it's a mix, right? Because I knew what I was looking for, so it's very important to know what you want from your future job. Because spent quite a lot of time looking for a job posting that would fit my requirements. I waited until I got that opportunity. So maybe sometimes it's best to wait, or
yeah, so you won't go. I see. It's a mistake
yeah,
to call it luck. It's not luck.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard work and patience.
yeah.
You were patient to wait for it. And now you're a driver of the House of Data community in Kazakhstan, right? You mentioned it, and
Yeah, I'm not the only one, but yeah, we have
you
a team.
know,
But yes, I work with my friends here at Data team in Kazakhstan on building that
and
community. Yeah.
I think the Kazakhstan is a very popular destination now. And for those who want to join data in Kazakhstan, what data directions do exist in EPAM Kazakhstan, and what is the difference between them? Could you please tell us some?
Mhm. Sure. I hope you hear me. So
Yes.
I will cover main tracks that we have. I think it's. I should point out that there are quite many in the data practice at EPAM Global. We are part of the global data practice, as I said, and it's not different if you join EPAM Kazakhstan or EPAM anywhere in other country. We have the same tracks. However, we have bigger team presence in three tracks that are most important as a priority at the moment. So I think mainly I would cover. We have um, the track that I am in. Let me start from there. Is called BI analysis. So it would be people who are working on building BI systems, but they are also serving as business analysts at the same time. So it's a combined role that is required to build the good BI project. It's quite in high demand lately as well, because it serves as a starting point for BI project. You need someone who would be working day to day with business stakeholders in order to gather requirements for BI systems, and they also work on the reports themselves. Also, we have more technical roles, more technical tracks, which are called data analytics engineering and data software engineering. Data analytics engineering is a role that is similar to BI analysis, that in a way that we focus on BI systems. However, these people mostly focus on building the reports hands-on. So they are engineers who work on creating the reports from scratch. It's called analytics and visualization track inside data analytics specialty. We have people who prefer to work on creating some advanced reports. They work with DAX measures and DAX formulas a lot, so they enjoy those are sort of tasks, and also they know the functionality of the BI systems that we mentioned before, right? Tableau and Power BI very well, so they know quite many powerful features of those systems, and they serve as the engineers who work together with BI specialists. And also we have a data integration specialists and also database administration team. So it's these tracks allow us to cover the ETL stages of data production, right? The data product development. These people are covering data engineering needs that we have in the projects, and they work on all the latest technology that allows for efficient pipelines and delivery of the transformation and delivery of the data that we need. And also the data software engineering track is a general big data track that we have in the team. It's people who work in the cloud related tasks and who work with the programming languages needed for data platform development. And these are the main three tracks, but however we do also have data science, ML engineering, also data DevOps, and data quality engineering people. We do have some advanced tracks for people who had quite significant experience in data world, which is called data delivery management, data solution architects, and also we have data analysis consulting. So there are quite many roads to take if you join data world in at EPAM. However, it's all very flexible because people who join the team may be quite fresh. They may be fresh graduates, they may be new to data world, and we have options to change the track that you take. It's not something that you choose and go with forever, right? You may be flexible. You may want to change your track in the future. It's all very flexible, and we also allow quite a lot of training and support for people who join EPAM data practice.
So how would you, you listed a lot of uh, directions, and do you think it high demand now? So would you recommend to join data if I'm thinking about my, you know, where do I want to be in IT? Who do I want to be? What is data is a good direction to choose?
Oh, I see what you mean. I think it's quite in high demand at the moment. We see that by the amount of projects that we have, and also by the demand from the job market as well, because we see quite many applicants who want to join data team in Kazakhstan. We also have quite many new companies in the market. We have as you see, these tracks may have been the list may have been much smaller before, but at the moment it's only growing, and each year we have new tracks and new they expand, and some of the subdivisions get their own tracks because this team is growing very significantly. I would say if you want to join the team, right, and you want to join data world in general, it's a very promising sphere. It's not something that will disappear all of a sudden. As I said in the beginning, right, a lot of companies, they currently make their business decisions based on data, and it's not something that is just an extra nice to have aspect of the business, right? It's now becoming a crucial part of business, and a lot of companies future depend on whether or not that data analysis is good and helpful and useful. So I think there's job choice wise, I mean job market wise, I think this is a good choice. Maybe because I'm subjective, but I would say that.
Maybe yes,
Yeah.
because that was your choice, and
Yeah.
you it proved you right. So And what do you think if what kind of people would not like working in data? I mean, what all the what
Hmm. I
why
see.
would you?
Well, maybe mm, I wouldn't say that there's something extremely wrong about data world. It's as any other job, it requires quite a lot of effort, right? I wouldn't say that it's worse or better in terms of workload than any other field. If we look at IT world, right, I think uh, it has only positive sides about it in terms of popularity and high demand lately. Of course, if you were talking about other industries, it depends very on the personality of. We we often work with numbers, right? We often work with quantitative data. There's a lot of systematic approach in daily tasks that we have. So it's something that mm, a person joining the data world needs to enjoy. I think that's my personal opinion, of course. Um, you should enjoy organizing data in general. Maybe if you enjoy organizing your personal data, you're worried about having everything stored correctly. If you like looking for insights in everything that you hear, and if you like learning about trends, you look into such trends in everything that you hear or read, right? If you have such a personality, then you would definitely enjoy data because in our day-to-day tasks we focus a lot in on finding those insights in the data because all of the work that we do is aimed to get to that end result of finding some beautiful business insights that would help provide a business or a person to improve what they're working on. So it's always it gives quite a lot of satisfaction in to get to that end result. So of course there are quite many steps to take. So certainly you need some patience in order to work in data. Patience, in general, love for details. I think a love for um, structure in your day-to-day job. I think that's very important. And whoever is different and whoever has different values in life, maybe looking for something else, of course. But I think eventually data is in all aspects of our lives. So if you now think, if you're now doubting whether or not you are fit for data world in general, maybe you should talk to someone who works in that sphere and get a third opinion because um, a lot of a lot of times you don't even realize that what you're working on has data aspect to it, and what you're doing already in your day-to-day job may be full of data analysis, but you may just not
Yeah,
realize it.
maybe you're
Yeah.
doing it every day, right?
Yes.
And
That's true.
actually,
Yeah, with just old-fashioned tools and maybe outdated approach and techniques, but um, it would help if you just get to know someone from the data sphere, data world, who works on it day to day.
so if a person actually decided that he or she are interested in data, are there any courses or trainings that you would recommend?
Sure. As I said, I think starting from the skill set, right, that we discussed before, it would be SQL as the most important. Then that's a bit first start. It's a good indicator of whether or not people are enjoy working with data and whether they would be able to tackle any other more complicated tools in the future, right? You can also play around with BI tools. That's the first thing that I suggest to many joiners, new joiners, because BI tools are quite accessible on to anyone, right? There are plenty of free trials out there, and if you just try it as a user first and see whether you like it or not, that would help a lot. And then once, of course, you're more determined to choose data as your future career, right? Data maybe a data analyst role or BI analyst or data engineer, then of course you should go to some education platforms and look for um, specific courses that would help you grow as a professional. If you join EPAM as a junior or even middle specialist, we have um, programs and trainings for each specific track that I mentioned before. So if you choose to be a BI analyst, or if you choose to be data integration specialist, we welcome people who have as basic knowledge of SQL, or prior knowledge of programming languages, any other languages, for example, if you're joining from a different industry inside IT, you may mm, try to switch your role using program tracks that we have at DPAM. So we focus heavily on providing those courses, and we also have many pet projects for new joiners. So if you will have opportunity to not only learn in theoretical information, right? Not only have those lectures that are available out there, but also have hands-on experience with the supervision of some more senior people from the team. And I think because when you're joining data world, you should also focus on the types of projects that we have. I think we briefly mentioned it, but there I will just maybe describe in as an example the types of
Hmm.
projects that we have in EPAM, because it's very important to understand that what you will do day to day will differ significantly, right, depending on whether what type of project you join. So I think for everyone, especially those who are working currently in IT in different fields, it's important to understand that as at EPAM, we mostly work on data migration projects. So usually our clients approach us when they want to um, migrate their data from on-premise solution to cloud. And as a part of that journey, because that journey is quite big and long for many clients, it twice has many it's a journey of some challenges along the way, and for many people it's exactly the for many employees in at EPAM Kazakhstan, I would say that's the typical project that they're working on. So it's some part either the starting point, or they're already quite ahead in the migration, right? It depends on when they join that journey, but at the end of the day, it's all about migrating data and improving that quality of the data storage and data analysis aspects of the business. So we are working on the main three cloud providers, Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud as well. So it's there is quite a big choice, but usually that's where we step in as EPAM Kazakhstan. We provide our expertise in all of this, in all of the different aspects of data migration. And as I said, all those tracks that we have in place, they cover all the functions that are needed to successfully migrate your business data. And I think that's a starting point for people who think and consider data world in general. You need to understand what's the magnitude of the project that you want to be a part of, because you may want to start with a small project, or just some specific part of the project, right? That would be uh, that would be a good way to think of it in the beginning. Which function of this whole journey do you want to perform in the beginning, and then maybe you will grow to be a wider specialist with a wider skill set. And it's all about try and error, of course.
Okay, and we have a question about you mentioned cloud providers, and
Mhm,
people are asking what cloud provider is more popular, what to start, what to learn if you
mhm.
don't know anyone, right? What would you recommend from your
Sure,
experience?
sure. I think as the ones that I mentioned would be the best starting point. Of course, Azure. So far, from my experience, Azure is more popular among corporate clients that we have.
Yeah.
However,
Microsoft Azure.
yeah, Microsoft Azure, and
First
also,
place. Hmm.
and I think AWS also, they share the first spot, I think. And Google Cloud is less popular from my experience. However, maybe someone may pitch in the comments. So, but it's still out there. It's still, we do have projects with Google Cloud as well. But that's my first, I think, rating. That's my approach to it. I think it doesn't hurt to try them all, because they're all very similar. And once you learn one of them, you'll be able to work in any cloud environment.
Okay, thank you. And talking about switching in, if you already work in IT, you were a business analyst and you become data analyst. And from your experience, what are the most um, from what directions most people come to data? What would you say? Are these quality assurance engineers or business analysts? Or
Yes, yes, sure. I think, yes, that's the classic track that I've observed in our team, the BA switching to data analyst and BIA role. However, we also have software engineers coming from Python background, for example, or any backend developers who switch to be our data integration specialists. And that's a good track to take as well. We also have people who um, enjoyed BI systems. For example, they used BI systems before in their previous workplaces as users, common users, and they really liked it and decided to become software engineers who would be report developers, right? So it's a track that I mentioned that is heavily focused on reports and development. So there is less communication with business, but there is more work on the reports themselves. So that's a good track. And also, as you mentioned, for QA specialists, we suggest a track for to switch to data quality, and it really is a good track, to choose, because I think QA specialists have this mindset, well, quality oriented mindset that really helps in data world, and it's something very that would that's something that would help them easily navigate data quality roles anywhere, not only at EPAM. Usually that's the way we see it, but of course it's not strict. It's not a strict rule. Some QA specialists may choose to join data world as BI specialists as well. It all depends on personal choice. I personally encourage people to try all the free trials out there, you know, all the courses, and get as much hands-on experience from labs available online. You don't need to spend quite a lot of money on that. Don't need to buy any expensive trainings to in order to try something. Um, all the major players in data um, tools, right, world, they all provide free trials. So I always encourage people to start from there and only then build on top of that when you feel that you have a specific preference, whether it be BI, ETL, data engineering, anything, right? That's when you want to focus deeper, and maybe spend some more money on that, on courses.
yeah, thanks. That's great information to know that you don't have to spend a lot of money to
That's for
start,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
and buy some expensive course which will get you into IT like in 2 months, right? There are a lot of fish in the sea and it's free.
Yeah, I personally spent $0 on trainings in my journey, so I would suggest people to do the same. I think SQL is quite popular. All the BI tools are popular. YouTube is out there, and also, it always helps to reach out for you know to you always need to approach each tool separately and go to the official websites, right? I think that's the way to go. And once you go to the official website, there's plenty of documentation that would allow anyone to learn any tool for free. I think, yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, agree. And returning to your career, what your ambitions next? What are your next steps? What do you think for yourself?
Yes, since I've been working on BI projects for quite a while now, now I'm looking into um, either data product ownership, so serving not only as a business analyst in the data teams, data projects, but also as a proxy the product owner, and also I'm looking into all aspects of the data product pipeline. So I'm now expanding my knowledge in all of the tools that we have out there, and I'm looking into data consultancy in the future. That's my that's my wish. Yeah.
Okay, so, and some question for fun. If not IT, what would you do? Imagine
Um,
there's no IT.
I think I would enjoy being I don't know, an MC. Like I think I would enjoy being the driver of such events like you, and also I would definitely enjoy some cooking, and maybe I would have a food blog. Yeah, I think that's something I would do.
It's a way to go. You have time to do it in your
Yeah, that's for
future.
sure.
Thank you, Aizhan, for this interesting talk. Really a lot of interesting information. Thanks
Thank
to
you.
everyone for joining us, and follow us on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and stay tuned and don't miss our next events.
Thank you
I
for having
think
me. Yeah.
we'll gladly have you again. It's very nice talking to you. So I guess that's it.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye. Bye bye.